when we're driving the car, it's like tunnel vision. So it's just looking ahead and looking at the corners ahead. So it's actually a crazy feeling, and every time we would wish the car would go more than 300 kilometers. The car does play a very, very big role in F1 right now.
Is that good?
Honestly, I don't find it. It's not good. I think that's why many people watch Formula 3 and Formula 2, because the engines are the same, the car is the same. It's just different teams. I mean, already there's a lot of girls like partaking in the sport, but it's never easy. Sometimes they even like give up and just drop out. So the sport is very difficult, and every champion was a rookie, and everyone had it hard in the very beginning. But like I said, persistence is always key.
I want to welcome you to the second season of Couchonomics with Arjun. Join us this season as we go beyond fintech and payments and embark on the journey into the future of financial services, a future which will be shaped by existing and new developments in technology and innovation, including and not limited to the likes of embedded finance, open banking, ESG, various versions of metaverse, decentralized finance, digital currencies, and other trends. On the couch, we're going to have the most influential and progressive-minded founders, executives, investors, regulators, innovators, and industry commentators from across the MENA region and beyond. Join us as we unravel a multitude of layers of the financial services industry and try to learn how technology will continue to impact the world that we live in. Couchonomics with Arjun is proud to collaborate with some of the most respected and innovative names in the world of payments, fintech, and technology. Ardian is a reliable end-to-end payment solution that provides innovation and flexibility to help businesses achieve their ambition faster by turning payments into a strategic growth driver. Get everything you need with 2U, a Saudi-based super app for delivery, mobility, on-demand services, and a lot more. 2U connects you to everything you need to enrich your daily lives by building an ecosystem across its end consumers, merchants, and reps. Visa is a world leader in digital payments, with a mission to connect the world through the most innovative, convenient, reliable, and secure payments network to enable individuals, businesses, and economies to thrive. Jidea is a leading fintech and payment solution provider founded in Saudi Arabia, expanding rapidly across the region with established operations in UAE and Egypt. Jidea's vision is to empower merchants with the tools to start, manage, and grow their business. M2P pioneers next-gen fintech through innovative offerings across payments, lending, and banking landscapes. Their comprehensive tech stack powers end-to-end banking services, BNPL, customized credit cards, prepaid cards, and more. Hi guys, welcome to this episode of Couchonomics. I'm your host Arjun, and we have three firsts in today's episode. Firstly, I'm wearing a hat. I haven't done that ever before, right? Secondly, for the last 2 weeks, we've been talking a lot about ChatGPT, or I should say the last 3 weeks. So I thought I'd give it a run, and to help you prepare the questions for today's podcast, I actually used ChatGPT, and I was fairly surprised, as a matter of fact, quite impressed with the quality of the questions the AI tool spewed out. So I've actually got some of the questions which I'm going to be asking my guests today, which have come out of ChatGPT. Thirdly, and most importantly, if you remember, at least for those who listened into my video before the launch of season 2, I shared that in this season of 42 episodes, I'm actually going to go and venture beyond the world of financial services. And I'm going to bring guests who I believe have inspirational stories worth telling. So for those of you who like things fast, right, I think I have a treat. My guest today is a 22-year-old Emirati trendsetter, right? She was the first Middle Eastern woman to take part in professional motor racing. when she competed in Formula E in Saudi Arabia in 2018, when she was all of 18 years old. Her name is Amna Al Qubaisi, and she's joining me on the couch today. So, Amna, welcome.
I feel very welcomed.
Are you comfortable on the couch?
Very much comfortable. Thank you.
I can't fist bump you or say hi because I guess the distance is too much. Last season we could do that, but thank you for making time.
Of course.
I know I just reached out to you out in the blue. We've never met or come across each other. The possibility of that are very bleak because I'm more than twice your age. But I'm a big race car fan, and I'll give you all my stories later in the show. That I've had the good fortune of actually seeing over a dozen Formula One race car driving races while in the I guess the venues. I grew up in a generation where we were all Danica Patrick was, I guess we all had our celebrity crush on her. And I was one of, I would say I was one of the big Ayrton Senna fans. And I'll never forget the day we lost him. I arguably think it was one of the saddest days in my sporting life, up there with Shane Warne and the accident that Schumacher had. But we're not going to talk about those guys. We're going to talk about you. Let me ask a very straightforward question, which I'm sure you get asked by everybody else, right? How did you get started in racing?
So basically, my father is a racing driver. So back in 2009, that was his first time competing in GT. So he was competing in Porsche Carrera Cup in the Middle East. And then he moved to competing the World Championship or European Championship, Porsche Carrera Cup. And by the time I saw him bring drivers to the house, he would bring his team sometimes as well for dinner. And all they ever did was talk about racing. And outside of the track, they were super passionate. And that's their only topic. The only thing they would talk about was racing. So I wanted to feel that type of passion. So I asked my dad when I was around 13 that I wanted to take part in motorsports. And yeah, he brought me in karting at the age of 14.
And where was this?
It was all here in the Middle East in Abu Dhabi.
So we have actually a whole karting scene here?
Yeah, we have. We have karting championships. We have karting tracks and pretty good ones as well.
Many girls?
Actually, now there are a few girls, especially from the UAE, competing, young ones. So it's starting to
But when you started?
When I started, no.
And what was the initial reaction when you arrived at the karting scene with the other sort of 12 to 14-year-olds?
I was the only girl, and I was the only local girl. So there were all a bunch of European drivers who've been competing ever since they were 6 years old. So it was me coming as a newbie, I was very much, isolated because I was different. But with time, I started to make friends. I found a few girls as well. They came in to the racing environment and we were good friends. And yeah, till now we're actually good friends. We even raced together, me and a friend of mine, in Formula 4. So it's crazy how we met in 2015 and then we raced again in single seaters in 2019.
Right. And so if I'm not wrong, you're now doing Formula 3.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to come back to that. Right. But I have a question. I've never raced cars. I've driven fast cars. I've never raced cars. Right. I did do a rally up in the Himalayas. Well, we won't talk about that either. Right. Tell me, because I've spoken to quite a lot of race car drivers over the years when I've been on these racetracks and so on and so forth. For you, what do you love most about driving the race cars? And if I may add a second question to that, or second part to that question is, what do you love most about competing?
So what I love most about race cars?
Yeah.
What I love most about it is the speed. That's something I adore. For me, it's instead of going to a therapist, you just drive a race car and go into phenomenal speed and just, everything just like, no, the noise cancels out. So that's how I feel when I drive.
So you feel like empowered?
Yeah. I feel like everything's on mute. It's just you in the car. So that's how I feel when I'm in the car
So
racing.
it's the, if I may say, and I know it's not gender correct, but it's the man and the machine becoming one.
Exactly, yeah, the man in the machine becoming, or the woman in the machine.
Exactly, as I said, the woman and the man and the machine becoming. So, and what do you like about competing? Because you could still drive fast cars, right?
Yeah.
You could hire a car, you could go hire a track and give it a shot. But so, what about competing?
Competing, like in, let's say, circuit racing, it's not like rally. Rally, like you have a specific time to go. It's not racing with others. It's just you and the time. In circuit racing, you race against other drivers. So everyone's on the grid after qualifying, and after the lights are out, it's every driver to himself, basically fighting for their positions. So it's with a couple of other competitors.
So I'm going to go a bit deeper on this question of what do you like about sort of driving and competing. You drive at about 300 kilometers an hour, right? Maybe a little less, but it's in that range, which is crazy speed, right? According to me, right? In your words, and beyond the fact that everything is mute, describe that feeling of being behind these high performance horses, if I may use that term.
Yeah,
right?
it's a lot of adrenaline. A lot of adrenaline. Like, you basically don't feel the speed. You basically want to go faster. So, like, when we're driving the car, it's like tunnel vision. So it's just looking ahead and looking at the corners ahead. So it's actually a crazy feeling. And every time we would wish the car would go more than 300 kilometers.
Do you actually feel like it's going at 300 kilometers?
No.
Because the relativity kicks in, right? Everybody's at that pace.
Yeah.
Right. So what's constraining you? Constraining you is what? Just the racetrack, the ability of the car, the safety, or does some of them just is safety something which sort of sits in your mind? Are you like worried about yourself?
Actually, no. Like, the track's much more safer than driving down the road, because that's in my opinion. Like, I find it way safer than, if you get into an accident on track, you have like the car is, carbon fiber, you're like the seatbelt's super tight, you're tied like in the car, you're basically one with the car. And if you, let's say, have an incident on the road, it's just one seatbelt that's protecting you. And the airbag. And the airbag, in my opinion, is also like really dangerous. We don't have airbags in the single-seater car.
I've seen those.
Yeah, so it's actually much safer.
So it's safer. You don't feel the 300 kilometers. You want to go faster. So what are you constrained by? Just the car?
Yeah, just the car. Like, I mean, it's usually Formula 3, like, they don't push it beyond its limit. There is certain limits to every car in a championship, depending on the championship. So our championship, there was a certain limit, so it's like much slower. And yeah, I mean, the tires also play a big factor, depending on the championship as well. And let's say, the track, if it's in good condition or in bad condition, if there's rubber, if there isn't. So
let me digress a little bit, just to educate me and I guess the audience. You move from Formula 4 to Formula 3 to 2 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of, how do you qualify? How do you move forward?
I mean, every person or driver can go within their own pace, but the most important is super license points. So you need to gain like points within any FIA certified championship. Let's say top 10 get points. And once you reach the certain amount of points, you can enter F1. So it's the super license points. It doesn't matter if you're in F2 or F3.
So you can go straight from F3 to F1?
Yeah, there are a few drivers from F3 who went into F1 straight away.
And so, and what sort of, is it time driven? Is it like, so are you going to be in Formula 1?
That depends. I need super license points. So every driver needs to get super license points to reach that level.
Okay, we're going to come back to that because I really want to understand how does one sort of push through, because there's this whole sponsorship side to all this. It's an expensive sport from everything that I see and I hear and I learn. Let's come back. But come back to the racing side. So Tell me about how do you go through this process of sort of mentally and physically preparing yourself for, I guess, the whole season or a particular race. I'm assuming it's highly methodical, but what's the process?
So the process, like when we drive these cars, there's no power steer. So your arms is your power steer.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a very heavy car.
So I
like
shouldn't arm wrestle you.
I think so.
Okay. All right. Point noted.
Yeah, the car is like extremely heavy. Like my dad thought I was exaggerating when I told him like it's super heavy until he tried and he was like, actually, you're right. This car is super heavy. Like he couldn't even manage the car. So yeah, the cars are really, really heavy. The tires as well, with a lot of grip, with the G-force, it stresses your neck a lot. And the brakes, they're not like, in a normal car. The brakes are like super heavy. You need to like push with full power. So a lot of aspects in the car is very physical. So that's like 90% of the car is the physical
So how
aspect.
many hours do you train every day?
1.5 hour every day, and we focus mainly on arms and neck.
Yeah, I would imagine so, right? And especially with the G-force and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's the physical side of it. So an hour and a half in the gym every day, intense training. Okay. What about the mental side?
The mental side, in the beginning, actually, we were not really focused on the mental side because, it wasn't looked upon in racing. But then, like, slowly they started introducing that in racing and they found out there was a big difference with drivers' performance. So I had one psychologist. He was like through a Zoom call, and he was very helpful. Like many times during a race weekend, I felt like I wanted to stop racing and I wanted to give up and I didn't want to compete anymore. But he really like brought me back to like being at the top, giving me that motivation, that inspiration to continue. So yeah.
No, so tell me. So you just talked about something very interesting where you wanted to stop. You wanted to stop why? Because you hadn't won, or because you just felt that this was physically too tiring. So what makes you want to sort of walk away from something that obviously you're young, but you dedicated 4 or 5 years of your life where, with all due respect, most other girls are pursuing different things, right? What would make you sort of want to quit?
It was because I felt like I was like competing with a disadvantage. It was very unfair to me. Like all of my competitors have a lot of track time, had more time in the car. And for me, every time it's like I'd have an 8-month break and then I'd jump straight into the car. And it's like catching the flag, you have to restart, readapt everything. And then you're on a break again and then back in the car. So like for me, I felt like I was always like in the same constant pace. And my past competitors, which I used to beat, were like going higher and higher and
And
higher.
why?
I mean, for them, it was easy for budget. Like they have the money, they have the sponsorship. It was easy for them to compete and have more time in the car and everything. And for me, like it was quite difficult. We were tight on budget, so we were very selective in what we could do. So yeah, it was.
So let's talk about sponsorships now, right? I wanted to save that for later in the conversation because you brought it up, so it's important, right? I'm not going to ask you how much it takes to sponsor you. I assume it's a fair amount, right? Any level of motorsport is expensive, from what I can gather, and I've followed quite a few of them. Who sponsors you right now?
I have Kaspersky Lab, the antivirus company.
Yep, and trust me, as I told a friend of mine who's with them in Southeast Asia, and the second I told him that you're going to be on the show, that was the first thing he told me. So that's great.
Yeah, and we have Strata Manufacturing.
Yeah.
And we had Sheikh Mohammed. He gave us the budget as well after I won my first race in Formula 4 in 2019. So, yeah.
But so no private sector players?
No.
But why?
I have no idea. Like, I've seen a couple sponsoring drivers, European drivers, and we reached out to them as well. It would be also good if they could sponsor us since we're, from the UAE and it's a UAE company. But, like, it was it was hard to.
No, it's not just the UAE company. I think you're a poster child for Arab women in sport. It's a sport completely dominated by men,
Mhm.
right? I'm very very surprised. So I guess there's a call out from me for any corporates who are listening. You know, at least have a conversation, right? I would imagine that they could do a lot worse with their brand association than not actually work with someone like you who's doing something which is uh, a first in a lot of ways. And I'm not
Mhm.
saying this just to make you feel good because you're sitting in the couch here, but I do think that uh, this is a sport which is heavily male dominated,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And I think a woman succeeding in it actually uh, has an effect, in my humble opinion, and I guess I'm biased with two daughters, that it has actually an impact which multiplies and exponentially impact other sectors. I'm actually quite disappointed, to be honest with you, to know that there are not enough private sector players across the region. And I don't think this is just a UAE thing. I think
Mhm.
it's a Arab wide thing that they should. In any case, we'll come back to sponsorship. But no, let me ask another question. How much of your time as an individual then goes into pursuing sponsorship opportunities?
A lot of time. I mean, I was also actually quite lucky to find Capchi Coatings. It's
Okay.
an Egyptian company. They were willingly, like, they reached out to us and they were willingly wanting to sponsor us for Formula 3 in Asia. So, with them, like, to handle, like, the branding, how the car would look with their logo, with the suit, it actually requires a lot of time. And with the contracts and everything.
How did Kaspersky come along? Is that something you're willing to share?
Yeah, I mean, after like they were actually sponsoring me for karting, and they wanted to sponsor a woman. They wanted to do something different. Kaspersky Lab never sponsored a female in motorsports. So they reached out to us and they saw that I was doing quite well in karting, and they were like, we want to sponsor her in karting. And after I won the championship, they were willingly wanting to sponsor me for my first F4 season. So Kaspersky was the first ever company to see that I had the talent and believed in me from the very, very beginning.
No, that's good, and that's good. And so here's my commitment to you. We have five very fine partners of the show here, and I will write to them all independently, and at least I will introduce you. I don't have any sway
Thank
over their
you.
sponsorship budgets. Not that important a guy, but hey, I'm actually going to do that. Let's talk about women. Let's talk about women race car drivers, right? So specifically, let's try and focus a little bit on some of the challenge. I think you've outlined quite a few challenges already. Maybe we've missed some. So, what are some of the challenges women face in race car driving, which is unique to women, not just men?
The challenges women face is actually quite a lot. The main thing is budget. There is also like a few drivers, let's say, who don't have the funding. There was an academy called W Series, and they've all went to that. All the top female drivers, that was their last resort because it was free for them and they could at least compete. So that was their only choice to compete with other female drivers. So, and as well as, the car, the race car is built for a man, it's not built for a woman. So when we enter, like, we have our own seat being made.
Wow,
Yeah, it's like really wide. The pedals are pushed way too far. The steering wheel is, quite thick. So it was actually like built for a man and not
that's
for a
interesting.
woman. Yeah, so
And I'm assuming most of the support staff and the support team are also men, and they think in a particular way.
yeah, and actually, like, they're gonna do a few changes this year because there were a lot of complaints for female drivers who tried, to fit in the car and they couldn't because it's built for a man, basically. So
And what about the team? So the team you built around yourself, does gender make a difference? Do you feel surrounding yourself with a team which is balanced from a gender perspective helps, or doesn't really matter?
I mean, the team, they have a few, like a bit of diversity. The team I'm with, they have a few women who are mechanics, who are engineers as well, who work with the team. So I didn't feel like I was the only girl. And as well as like the team were very professional. They would never like put me in a situation where I would feel left out because of my gender. So that was one main thing that I really respected about my team.
Okay. So there's a lot which is kind of, if I may say, there's a lot which is stocked up against you in terms of it's just not that you have to go out there and compete and win races, that the challenges with being a female car driver or a racing car driver starts far behind. Like I had no idea about these cars, but it makes sense, right? Because if 99% of all the drivers are men, right, everything else is designed around men, right? And I can imagine now it makes sense. Switching gears slightly, right? I do want to talk about the cultural aspect. So can you describe, right, in sort of your words, the cultural significance of someone like you in a sport like race car driving in the context of the wider Arab world, right? What are your thoughts on that?
For me, like at the start, it didn't really mean anything because my father was quite open-minded. He was very supportive in whatever sport I did.
That's very obvious.
So like, yeah, I didn't really see much of a difference when I was in it. But then when I competed in Europe, that's when I noticed that it actually made a difference because I had drivers and people still approaching me and asking me like, are women still not allowed to drive? Are women not allowed to work? And I'm telling them like,
I'm standing in front of you.
I don't know where you're getting these questions from, but like, yeah, they still think that way. They still
I think
think
the stereotypes exist, right?
Yeah,
and,
it
and,
still
and you can't
exists.
help that. I think that's going to take time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I remember, I'll give you a very funny story when, when I was studying in the U.S. As an undergrad, and God, that is a long time ago. People would ask questions as weird as, "Do you have toilets?" Okay, so right, I'm ethnically Indian, right? I'm a Brit by nationality, but I'm ethnically Indian, and my name gives that away. So I think those stereotypes do exist. I remember people asking me that, do you wake up every morning and say a prayer? Nothing wrong with saying a prayer, but and are you do you only eat vegetarian food, and so on and so forth. So I like your attitude. You're smiling these things off. This is something which will take time. Right?
Yeah.
I've spent half my life in the US, not half my life, but a considerable amount of my life in the US. And you get to the interiors and, you hear stories and, you have people having stereotypes. I wouldn't. Let's leave aside all the challenges. I'm now going to talk about the positives and the good. So let's start with, what has been your most proud moment since you started race car driving?
The proudest moment was during the F1 weekend in 2019. There was a Formula 4 support race at the same time.
Yes, I remember. 2019, yes.
Yes, and that was my first ever win in single seaters. So I had the chance to park next to the F1 paddock.
Cool.
Where, the F1 winners would stop their cars as well, and I'd step up onto the F1 podium. So it was like a very surreal feeling. Like I cried. Like I was so emotional about it. Yeah, it was amazing. It was like the best feeling ever.
I want a photograph of that if I can, as a part of us showcasing this event, right? So I think I'll request the production team. I think that's cool. Correct me, who won it? Verstappen?
That time in 2019? No, I think it was Lewis.
Lewis Hamilton?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about Formula One drivers for a second, right? And this is a personal question. So I grew up in the generation where it was Ayrton Senna, Alain Prost, Niki Lauda was just finishing his sort of career. Schumacher was sort of coming up, a few other drivers, right? I felt people raced each other, right? I actually worked for a company which sponsored, which was one of the sponsors of the team Schumacher raced for. So I had the good fortune because of that sponsorship to go to, racetracks like Hungaroring, Hockenheim, Imola, sort of San Marino, obviously Silverstone quite a few times, and so on and so forth. Since then, right, and then the Schumacher era came, which I think would never have ended even if he had continued driving. Unfortunately, obviously, the accident came after he retired, and so on and so forth. Do you agree with me? And feel free to disagree that it's now become more and more about the machine and less about the driver. I'm not taking anything away from Lewis Hamilton and his, I don't know, 7, 8 championships and how many Verstappen has won and so on and so forth. Where do you sit on that?
Yeah, I feel like now the cars play a big role. The engine, the technology, everything that's put into a car. Because like let's say like George Russell, he was in Williams and he was always at the back of the grid because of the car. And then when he moved to Mercedes, he's now like at the very top. He's sometimes quicker than Lewis Hamilton as well.
Yeah.
So the car does play a very, very big role in F1 right
Is that
now.
good?
Honestly, I don't find it. It's not good. I think that's why many people watch Formula 3 and Formula 2 because the engines are the same, the car is the same. It's just different teams. So I think F1, like what brought it really like into everyone's mind was the Netflix series Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
I think that's why like everybody's now watching Formula 1. But I mean, I found it very boring, like first 10 laps and then, the cars just start spreading out.
Well, it's totally, so Formula One for me this year, well, the last few years, watch the starting. I actually like the qualifications, and that also is dominated by a handful of cars because some of the cars are so much more powerful. You like the starts because even a slower car can cause havoc, right? They can hold ground for maybe, as you said, 10 laps, and if they've held by the 11th lap, a faster car will overtake them, and then it just becomes a parade.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And then fine, if there's a bit of rain, then there's a bit of drama. If someone gets their tire strategy wrong, there's a bit of drama. Someone clips each other accidentally. A slow car clips a fast car, then there's drama. Personally, I'm not saying I'm falling out of love of Formula One, but for this year, example in Abu Dhabi, I actually didn't feel like going, and I didn't.
Really?
Yeah, and I think it's the first time in maybe 6 or 7 years where I have not gone and watched it because I kind of felt like, what's the point? But in any case, that's kind of where I sit, right? So, young athletes, you're 22. You've accomplished more in car racing than most people would accomplish in a long time or in any sport. So what's your message to sort of young female athletes, right? Especially in this part of the world, what are the 2 or 3 or 4 things that, they should take away from your own experience?
I would say persistence. You need to keep persisting and stop procrastinating. I'm a big procrastinator and it's a really, really bad habit.
So when you say you procrastinate, what do you procrastinate about?
Like, let's say I have to go to the gym and I'm like, tomorrow or after 2 hours. And then like I never end up doing it. Like keep delaying. Like what stuck by me was like this quote I've seen, I think by Nike. And it said, yesterday you said today. And that stuck by me
Yesterday
for a very long time.
Yesterday you said
today.
Cool. I'm
So,
surprised for a Nike fan. I've never heard that. But you can see I'm not in sports.
I think I saw it on like a billboard or a t-shirt or something.
Okay, so we got persistence, we got procrastination or less of it. What else?
I would say surround yourself with people who already have ambitions and goals.
I think I couldn't agree more with you with that.
Yeah, because if you surround yourself with, let's say, people who are not as ambitious as you, they will just bring you down. And my father actually told me that, and I never agreed with him till like I actually saw myself going down by myself, like with a group of people. So props to my father.
So what role do your parents play? I see your mom's a big supporter of yours,
Yes, yes.
right? And I see that obviously your dad sort of set the balls in motion.
Hmm.
What sort of role do they play today?
My mom is always there, always coming to the race weekends till today. Like from the very beginning, when she would take me to practice in karting in Dubai or Al Ain, till today, she's coming with me to Europe when I have race weekends there. And my dad, he's always supportive. He's always, giving me advice, some tips. Sometimes even he's like my therapist.
Okay.
So every time I have a conversation with him, he always puts in, a word of advice, and it sticks by me for a very, very long time. So my father is a very wise person.
And I've now heard your younger sister's racing too.
Yes, yes, she is. We're both in it.
And she is 18?
She's 20.
She's 20. Okay.
Yeah, she looks 12 if you see her, but she's 20.
And largely because you were doing it, so she said, why not?
Yeah, actually, like, funny story in the very beginning, she was like, people thought that she would stop racing because they said she was so out of pace and she doesn't deserve, to drive. She's not fast enough. And she, to this day, like, she still remembers it, she told me. From that time till, let's say, last year, 2021, she was the first female in history to be on the podium in the F4 Italian Championship. Like, no other woman has done it in history. And she was the first to do it. And she's like, she came up to me and she told me, I remember that day when people said that I should stop and I was the slowest person in karting and everything. And now I became the first woman in history to get a podium in the Formula 4 Italian Championship.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Please do congratulate her.
Yeah, I will for sure.
for on my behalf, on our behalf. Here's the trick question then. Formula One, right? That's the pinnacle in motorsporting. Some Americans might think it's Indy 500, but I think genuinely even the Indy 500 drivers want to come across to Formula One and then possibly move back. I've seen quite a few of them do that.
Yeah,
right?
they move back.
Move back. Well, I think they move into Formula One, and then I think when they realize they can, I don't know why, and we're not going to get into it. What's it going to take beyond sponsorship, right, to get a Danica Patrick? Danica Patrick never raced in Formula One, did she?
No.
She never made it, right? I think she did Indy 500, and then she moved to NASCAR, which is disappointing, right? Personally. What will it take for a female to get into Formula One?
It will require someone, or let's say a proper team, to build her from the very moment she started karting to the moment build her and give her that time and effort to train, practice, everything. But I feel like there's already a lot of talented women, and why we should wait till, a specific junior F1 team to adopt a girl and build her from the very beginning. And, we already have very talented women, and it's just unfortunate that with time passing, they're just, fading away.
Because I think it'd be excellent for the sport, right? It's going to be just brilliant for the sport. It's not just always about winning and podium positions, but I think the sport will become so much more inclusive. I think that I would imagine the fan following will go beyond, it doubles if in terms of just the addressable audience. And I'm assuming there are people like you and others who really want to do it. Do you want to, I know you're obviously in university. I think you're graduating. Do you want to really go for Formula One?
Yeah, I actually really do. And it's just we're now competing with the F1 Academy. I think F1 released an only women's series called F1 Academy, and the budget cap is way cheaper than, competing in any other championship. And it's with other racetracks in Europe and one race with F1 itself. So when F1 released that academy, and they guaranteed, I think, top 3 will have a budget for FIA F3, which is with, the main F3 season in Europe. And it's not just women, and it's both genders. So,
So how big a representative voice does the Middle Eastern associations have in the way Formula One is shaping? Do we have a voice?
not in terms of like a racing driver or
Or in
a
shaping
team.
policy? But let's be honest, we have a Grand Prix in Abu Dhabi. We have a Grand Prix in Bahrain.
We
Right.
have the FIA president is Mohammed bin Slayem.
Yes.
So he's the FIA president of.
So shouldn't we have more say in terms of this region? And if this region is being led by female drivers, then so be it, right? Shouldn't we be pushing it? Because I'm sorry, because what I'm hearing is there's a lot of money required. There's no shortage of money in this part of the world, with all due respect, right? I think we have talent coming through, right? There are people like you, your sister. I'm sure there are others that you and Amia haven't spoken about. We seem to have the right people in the right parts of the equation. I personally think this should, the pieces of the puzzle should fall in its place soon enough. Why should we wait another 20 years? Is my question.
Exactly. Like that's what I was saying. It's always like once the discussion has been brought up, like people, let's say, make a media stunt or something, and then it's like forgotten for a while. So like I really think, if a female driver could make it, she needs a lot of backup to help her, push through. And it has to be consistent. Like she has to be racing nonstop. She cannot have let's say,
an 8-month
break.
hiatus. You can't, right?
Yeah,
in
you
any
need to
sport,
be,
you cannot, right?
Yeah, you need to be there consistently. Otherwise, you wouldn't be really improving. You would be like, it will take forever to get back into that rhythm. So, yeah.
Okay. We're going to switch topics again. So I was driving down Sheikh Zayed Road yesterday, right? And then I saw a picture. It was a big Sephora ad, and I saw two sort of supersized faces. Now, we've never met before, right? Obviously, we've exchanged a few messages on some social platforms. And then I saw a face, and I was like, hold on, this looks very familiar. That's you.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's me.
Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Right? Talk to me about how this whole came about.
Yeah, Sephora reached out, and actually they reached out to me like a year ago. They wanted to do a campaign with me, a part of it. And I was like, sure, why not? Like, it would be good to include Sephora and a racing driver, as one. It's like a lot of like woman empowerment. Makeup is not just, about putting it on the face, but it has like confidence and power and everything.
I'm discovering makeup, as you know. Right?
So, yeah, I mean, I loved how, their campaign slogan was beauty is not just what's on the face. So beauty is confidence, beauty is strength and everything. So then a year later, they reached out to me again and they said, we want to have you on the billboard. And I said, oh, really? And they said, yeah, we want to like do a few photos of you. And like the photos were actually in a parking lot. And it came out really good. Like it was just a normal parking lot. We did all the footage and everything. And the photo was like amazing. It's like we've done it in a studio or something. But it was like really, really nice. And they're very, supportive and very, loving in what I do and everything. So the Sephora team, like I absolutely love them so much.
And so the message, and I hope this gets across. So beauty is more than, sorry, what was the message again?
Like beauty is more than, what's on your face, right. Basically.
And how's that going to translate in terms of the message that we want to send out? Because you said they're using athletes, right? Mm-hmm. Right. And these athletes are predominantly from this part of the world.
Yes.
So it's actually a great sort of, so hats off to Sephora. They're creating a platform for elevating the message which, female athletes can achieve, mm-hmm. Which is great. And the message is getting through, or is it too early?
No, it is actually going through. I mean, I heard
your fan following is at what now?
I don't really track. It's like around 140 something. I don't know.
Yeah, so you must have a huge fan following in sort of Instagram and TikTok and whatever other
Yeah, sort
platforms.
of, yeah.
And okay, so let me ask you a question. This is a bit controversial. You can choose not to answer it. Okay, um, call me old-fashioned. I'm not, but I call me old-fashioned on this question. I personally think a lot of healthy hours, right, or a lot of useful, productive hours of the youth of today are, and I'll use the word, wasted on the so-called influencers. And I have a genuine dislike for that word. Okay. Even in my part of the world where we come from, which is financial services and fintech, right? I have no dislike for the people. I have dislike for the word influencers. Do you really think that, youngsters spending all those hours watching some of those mundane videos is healthy?
I mean, it's good and bad.
Sure.
Like the pros and cons. Like, it's good. Like, they can get creative. They can have certain
Oh,
ideas.
some of them are.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
some of them are really like good in helping, creativity and stuff. But sometimes if it's too much, it changes the person, like the way they think, the way they act. It changes their whole personality. Like for someone who's really young, like my brother, um, he developed a personality based on a YouTube character. And his English is amazing. It's really, really good. But one of the cons is he refuses to talk in Arabic
Okay.
because this character doesn't talk in Arabic.
Okay.
So, so yeah, I mean, it has its pros and cons. Like they shouldn't be too indulged in it, and they shouldn't be, like far from it.
Yeah, and there are better people to kind of follow and learn with. And my view is I've got two sides to social media. One is that what happens is that the way these algorithms work, they're self-feeding, right? So they're constantly understanding the type of information you like to digest, and you get more and more and more of that, right? So it
Correct.
actually creates a closed world around you. So your source of information becomes a handful of people and whatever they say. And over a period of time, like every other human, you start believing that is the right story. That to me is incredibly scary with youngsters. It's different when you're slightly older and you've seen the world. You're able to sort of kind of differentiate between the good and the bad, but even that doesn't work. The other concern I have is that there is so much more positive content which is being created by people who are not necessarily creating content, right? And that doesn't get seen, right? Um, Again, maybe this is a statement rather than a question. Do you? And I'm not trying to put you in a spot where you're going to get bashed by every influencer in the world. So please, that's not. I'm happy to be, right, but I'm not. How do we change this, or because you guys are the youth, right? So how many of your friends are completely preoccupied with this world of social media, limited sources of information?
I mean, that's a really good question. I mean, you can't really control what people want to see. Sometimes, people are bored and they want to, like, this is their source of entertainment, I guess, to, let's say, watch specific influencers or content creators. But I mean, for us athletes, we don't really focus on it, like with the trends or anything. We already have a purpose and we do like some content here and there just, to engage with our followers. But it's not our main goal, to rise up from content creating. And I think influencers and content creators are very well educated in that aspect. So that's why they get a lot of views and a lot of followers because they know what to post and they are creative, basically.
Yeah. No, I think we'll move in. I was reading some. I had one of our speakers came and told me that, half of the youth has suicidal thoughts right now, and that kind of worries the hell out of me. I think, people are living in arguably more affluence and with access to more than ever before, but people are more discontent. In any case, we're not going to get into the dark side. I'm also conscious of time. So, final question. Future of motorsport in the region. Where do you sit on that?
Future of motorsport. I mean, the UAE is growing very fast and a lot of technology, a lot of diversity and everything is like the expo and everything. I feel like in motorsport, they will have an F1 team, UAE F1 team. I don't know when, let's say
You
10.
heard it here first, guys.
I don't know when, but 10 to 20 years, they will have a UAE F1 team, hopefully in the upcoming future.
And do you see more youngsters like you coming into it, getting into it, more females getting into it?
I mean, already there's a lot of girls like partaking in the sport, but it's never easy. Sometimes they even like give up and just drop out. So the sport is very difficult, and every champion was a rookie, and everyone had it hard in the very beginning. But like I said, persistence is always key.
I think that's a great note to say goodbye at. Amna, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I hope this was not a very boring chat with a boring sort of financial services guy.
No.
I was able to ask half smart questions. I'm fairly confident. I think our extended crowd, even the ones who are in the financial services side, will actually find this useful, because I think a lot of the challenges that you have summarized in terms of breaking into a sport which has certain legacy constraints is true to several sectors, and especially in this part of the world, as we are transforming at pace, which is unbelievable, right? In the sense, just the decision in Saudi Arabia when they actually allowed, female drivers. I think the direct impact it's had on the growth of economy is substantial. I'm sure there'll be an interesting study done a couple of years down the line where they'll be able to substantiate it. But I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
And I wish you the very best. I will make sure that I will keep tap on how you're progressing.
Thank you.
I did make a promise halfway through the show, which I will live up to.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully, if some of that translates into getting success for yourself and for other females. I feel that there's a sense of responsibility. As I keep repeating, I'm a father of 2 daughters. They're growing up in this region, so I want them to have equal opportunities, if not more, when it's compared to their peers who could be boys, right? So thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
All right, great to have you. So that's the end of our episode with Amna Al Qubaisi. Super impressive girl. I'm in awe of her. I wish I was as articulate as she is at the age of 22. I don't even have a memory of what I was up to when I was 22, but that's a whole different point. We'll be back next week with a different episode and a different guest. So with that, I'd like to say goodbye and thank you.